So you have been working on Himalayas, the environment of Himalayas. How do you see Ladakh as far as the environment of Ladakh is concerned? What is the geology, and do you need it needs protection?
First of all, let me tell you that I work with the Integrated Mountain Initiative. It
That
is a
is very
civil society organization almost 15 years old. It was started by Mr. N.R. Tolia, who was the Chief Secretary of Uttarakhand, and some of his very devoted colleagues to work on climate change in the Himalayan region. And we work from Kashmir, Leh Ladakh to Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Arunachal, and up to Nagaland. Now, the issue of climate change is very serious for everyone. And of course, when you come to the places like Leh Ladakh, it is very, very critical from the environmental angle. And I would like to take you back to 2010 when we had a massive cloud burst and a disaster there, and few lives were lost. And of course, you have seen last year in Himachal and Sikkim, hundreds of lives have been lost because of the floods and because of the disasters which are triggered by the climate change. Now, Leh Ladakh is most sensitive from the climate change issue. And we have seen in the past that now, because of climate change and global warming, the cloudbursts, floods are becoming rampant. And it is a harsh reality. So, when the glaciers are melting, the cloudbursts are getting more frequent at that time, and in future it can be worse. So we need to have a very serious concern and deliberations on these environmental issues in Leh and Ladakh. And our organization, we work with the NGOs, we work with the government, we work with the elected representatives, so and the local community. So the first thing there is in Leh Ladakh to have a dialogue on eco-sensitivity and the climate change risks. And we will have to think beyond our defined parameters. And again, is the government, which is the biggest stakeholder, and the local community. They are the biggest stakeholders. Then comes the others, the investors, the tourists, the tourism industry. But first of all, the government and community have to sit together and seriously appreciate, assess, and list out the challenges. Perhaps
What
there
made
is
you
somewhere.
what made you work in this direction? So you are yourself from a Himalayan state. I believe that you are more attached because of this reason also.
Two biggest stakeholders are the government and the community. Now, both sides, it has to be a wide spectrum of participants. In the government also, they must have all the experts who are geologists, the botanists, ecology experts. And on the other hand, in the community also, we have to have those people who are concerned with the environment, and the community, local agriculture community and horticulture community, and those who are dependent on the ecology for their living. We have seen that we have shepherds, we have pashmina, and that industry is there. The fruit industry is there. So all these stakeholders with an open mind have to first assess the uh, trend and also assess the danger which is there because of climate change. Many a time we take one issue and we get emotional and swayed, but it's a very wide and multidimensional issue, requires a very long deliberations, not that one day meeting you come and discuss and find a solution. The solutions will evolve in the process. Solutions can't be just in one day meeting, 2 days meeting. So first thing is a dialogue between community, and the government uh, concerned departments and the experts in the government.
If we talk about Ladakh, it is the place is known as the cold desert. There is minimum rain that happens over there, and humidity is also not very much over there. So, what exactly are the issues, the climate issues that we face in that region? You must have assessed the exact issues that are there, sir.
As I said, the issues arise out of the climate change.
Hmm.
There were never cloudbursts like 30 years back.
Right.
Now, you said the humidity is low. Now, the humidity is also increasing.
Hmm.
And it is quite a bit of now the moisture being retained and then resulting into the cloudbursts, resulting into the floods. And at the same time, the snowfall is becoming lesser.
Hmm.
So there are issues of availability of water, or also the other issues, the fodder issues will come up.
Hmm.
And more issues will come with the excessive, if we have uncontrolled tourism.
Right.
Because it's very easy to see only the economic aspect. We
Hmm.
have to see the carbon footprints of the tourism. So some balancing, and that's why I said the deep scientific study is required.
Hmm.
Even drinking water becomes an issue.
Right, sir.
And with tourism, there is another issue of the managing the waste, the plastic waste, and the sewerage. At minus 20 degree in winter, there can't be any sewerage treatment. So you need a technology, you need appropriate systems where we can have uh, efficient sewerage system, because if we don't have efficient sewerage system, we are polluting downstream aquifers,
Right, sir.
because there the drinking water and also for irrigation, the aquifers depend on the upstream, how clean the upstream area is. So the downstream impact of these sewer, uh, because of the habitation and the tourism, will have to be considered.
We are hearing about the glacial lakes and the danger that prevails because of climate change and temperature is rising, global warming is happening. So there is a danger of glacial lakes as well. We heard that the government of Uttarakhand is doing a survey of its lakes which are in danger zones. So is there something like
Yes,
this
that
in
is
Leh
it. Yes.
also?
So it is everywhere. We call it GLOF.
Yes, sir.
Those are floods which are caused by these melting of glaciers and because of the lakes. So we need. There is a danger
How high
everywhere.
is the danger, sir? How high is this danger?
Yes, it is quite serious. But so far, the studies are not so thorough. Some studies have been done by international organizations like ICIMOD. Some studies have been done by Indian Institute of Science. We need more focused assessment of the risk, and NDMA also has some inputs. But we need now together, like ISRO and remote sensing organization, Geological Survey of India, NDMA, everyone together to assess the risk. And it's a transboundary issue also, because many of the glaciers may not be in India only, they may be in the bordering countries. So that basically transboundary issues, the impact also. We have seen that in Sikkim, the impact was not only in Sikkim, it was in Bengal, and then it was in the Bangladesh, though we may not talk much about it. So similarly, the Indus Basin, it has risk for Leh Ladakh, it has a risk for Kashmir, and further down in Pakistan. Of course, they are not worried as yet. But if the glaciers melt, there may be reduction in the flow of water in the Indus, which affects everyone, Leh Ladakh, Kashmir, and downstream Pakistan. And if there are floods, end of the day, the floods will go down and the submergence will happen in the low-lying areas. So this issue is pretty serious. So it needs assessment, monitoring, coordinated efforts, first within the country, and then we need a solution both ways, the solution by the scientific community and enabling capacity building of the state governments to monitor and to really do mitigation as well as relief, which requires money. And IMI has been working on this. We are trying to assess with the aftermath of Himachal and this Sikkim disaster last year, that how much these state governments have suffered and what are the gaps in the funding. So in 2010, when Leh Ladakh had floods, it was a very big financial investment which government had to put. So we have to work on this, and for the next 16th Finance Commission, all the Himalayan states have to together collectively work for mitigation measures, enabling the state governments and the community, strengthening their scientific departments, monitoring and relief. And therefore, more money is required. So money should come from the 16th Finance Commission.
Exactly. So one more thing that is talked about is environmentalists say that there is a lot of construction that has been happening in the Himalayas, uh, and the nature of the construction is so not sometimes, it's always like it is strategic. It is strategically required to build roads or to build tunnels. The government says that it is required to save the country, but the people in the Himalayas and the environmentalists, they say that even if the construction is required to protect the country, for country's safety, even then it should be done in a way so that the sensitivity of Himalayas is kept in the center of the thought.
I think we must hear the voice of masses. And what they are also saying is that they are not saying that we don't want to save the country. All that is required is that hear the masses, hear the science. Many a time, somehow, the masses are heard only in media, and the scientific community is heard only in seminars.
Right.
So it doesn't really come at the execution level. I'll give you an
Okay,
example of this.
if I
This
ask you ask
yeah.
this question to you like this, that what do you have to say about the construction that is happening in Himalayas? The roads, the
No, what I
tunnels.
say is that there are always balance of inconvenience, and there are always scientific solutions. Now we so far believe only in digging the hills, but we have seen abroad in many countries there can be technologies and systems where we really do as less as least damage to the hill and the ecology. So there can be systems. It's not that, but definitely there can't be 100% solutions. And the security defense considerations definitely would be paramount. So we have to have a common denominator, a balancing, and more important is making community trust that we are on the right path, because the past can't be corrected.
Right, sir. So I had visited this place when the tunnel accident took place, the Char Dham road that they have created. It's a 4-lane road, sir. And what I saw was the hills almost cut vertically and they are continuously falling. So do you think, sir, that the footfall of pilgrims, instead of constructing such big roads, such wide roads in the hills, the footfall of pilgrims can be controlled? Do you think this can be one of the solutions?
No, we are in a democratic setup. There
Right.
are constraints in controlling masses. But as far as Leh Ladakh is concerned, or the border or areas are concerned, certain areas do have restrictions. You go to Arunachal, you have an inner line permit. You go to tribal areas of Andaman Nicobar, you need a permission.
Right,
So
sir.
we have legislative measures where we can have a caution, we can have a balance. It can't be free for all. I'll give you an example that when the train was introduced in Arunachal, I was there as chief secretary in 2015-16.
Mm.
So there was a mass agitation. They were worried that you will have so many refugees, you will have Bangladeshis, you will have all over country people, because Arunachal has a very small population. They were worried about trains. So
Mm.
we heard them, we had a dialogue, and finally we had a system that it can't be free for all.
Mm.
We had a very smooth, seamless system of getting inner line permit and monitoring. So Leh Ladakh needs some kind of a, even I've seen in Manali and then going beyond Manali, Laul Spiti with this Atal tunnel. The
Right.
local community is now feeling the brunt of pollution, constraint on their water resources. And with tourism, let me tell you, that it's not only the economic prosperity we want environmental sustainability also.
Right.
So, in these sensitive areas, the laws can be framed and we can have a win win situation for both.
Mm.
And I have seen abroad also when restrictions are there, they are followed.
Yes, sir.
And
So
it has to be convenient.
this reminds me of my conversation with an Australian tunneling expert named Arnold Dix. He was called to look into the accident that happened in Uttarakhand. So the way he told me was very interesting. He said whenever we plan some construction in the Himalayas, we should come to an agreement with the Himalayas. So you should not tell Himalayas that we will do it this way. Himalaya should tell you, Himalayan states should tell you that please do it this way. Do you believe
No, I
this?
don't say that Himalayan states should do it,
No, no,
because the
Himalayas should tell
governments
us.
and states,
Okay.
yeah, the Himalaya cannot speak itself.
Mm.
The community also cannot really have every iota of knowledge and the best knowledge. I would say that respect the science and respect the Himalayan geology. That is the first point where we should begin the dialogue. Respect the science, but we have most of the time used science as a tool, but science is also an end. And at the same time, the Himalayan geology, everybody says, is very vulnerable, it's very sensitive. But when it comes to construction, we don't bother. We have
Right.
seen with dams and all, EIAs are done. A lot of things are said, but they are not executed.
Sir,
So
one more
that's why I
question.
say that community should be there involved in planning, in dialogue, in execution, and even in monitoring.
Right.
No, it can't be only the government department doing monitoring. The people, the community is there. They are the one who have a bigger stake, and they are the one who suffers because of these disasters.
They should also be cautious while building their homes and uh, almost
Yes,
sometimes they
yes.
don't
That
build
is again,
plans.
that is what I have been just saying, that respect the science, respect the sensitivity of Himalayas, and then let us respect our heritage,
Hmm.
our culture and heritage. Safety and sustainability was deep rooted.
Hmm.
The hills in Himalayas, houses in Himalayas were the wooden structures, and they would survive the uh, earthquakes.
Hmm.
Then came the invasion of cement industry, simply because we go by what succeeds, and what succeeds. But
Hmm.
then the success has its downfall also.
Right.
So it's quite surprising and shocking to see that in hills you have flat roofed RCC structures. Whereas in hills, you should not have flat roof, you should have the slopy ones, and you don't
Yes.
need RCC roof. You could have more. I'm not saying that you cut forests for your houses. There could be scientific ways of. Japan does it. They are earthquake prone. They make their houses. There's a whole architecture. Now there is a time even in all the state governments that Himalayan architecture will have to be studied from the beginning, and how in future it can be made more sustainable than going just the construction. But then, are we training our architects? Are we really sensitizing the contractors? And above all, are we really sensitizing public about the design, house design? In fact, we need very seriously in every state government their town planning department to work on sustainability of structures, residential structures. You've seen in Shimla, in one temple, so many people died
Right.
in last year floods.
Summary.
So there is somewhere we are lacking in the construction strategy. Our architects are failing, town planners are failing. So, and climate change is going to make it much worse in future.
Okay, sir. Um, we will conclude with this question, and this is my last question to you. What makes you most worried in terms of climate, as far as Leh Ladakh is concerned, and how do we? What is the solution for that?
No, as far as Leh Ladakh is concerned, there is a lot of expectation, and initially there was a euphoria because everybody saw so much of money will come, development will come. Development is always very glamorous, but the side effects and the adverse effects of development sink little slowly. So that is why I say that we need a very serious dialogue, and the community is now very concerned, and we should not suspect them. Definitely, there would be political connotations, and politics is part of our democratic setup. And during elections, it can be much more, very vocal. But then the undercurrent is the welfare and survival of everyone. And we can all do it together for the same goal we are working, whether it's a government or a community or even the industry, the business.
Thank
So
you,
I
sir.
hope there is positivity and there is a good future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.